Again, it's Andy over at Falco Canine's Healthy Dog Network, and we are here at a very great booth. But we're going to have a little bit of an unusual interview here because we have two different people we're interviewing at the same time, but they're closely connected and related. Watch how I do this. So we have Melissa from, Pooch. Posh Pooch. Posh Pooch, you're in Huntington Beach, and you have a grooming facility and a store. And first of all, just tell me a little bit about your place.
So I've been in the industry for 13 years, almost 14 years. Started as an employee, being a groomer there. Kind of saw what I liked and didn't like, so then I went the contractor route. Again, saw what I liked and didn't like, grew as much as I could then, and then opened up my own shop. The shop, we only sell USA made and sourced products. Our entire build out and all the products we use, most of the companies we use are all eco-friendly, and then we take that into our groom shop. All the products we use are all plant derived. I like to say I specialize in special needs dogs, cancer dogs, elderly dogs, things like that. A lot of veterinarians and groom shops refuse. That being said, I do everything start to finish, so the dogs are a lot less stress-free.
So we were just talking a minute ago, and we're all about authenticity on this channel and about talking and being real. There's a lot of stuff happening here in the grooming area that is just, for me, seems a little bit excessive. The painting and the dyeing of the coats and that kind of stuff. Is that the kind of stuff you do in your shop?
No, for me, it's not something I stand behind. I'm all about comfort, keeping the dog feeling good, feeling fresh, but feeling like a dog rather than a canvas art piece. And that's just for me. I think it's really cool. I like to watch it, but it's just not something that I do in my groom shop.
I love the part about you saying that you take all the dogs that get kicked out of other groomers, because our training is based on that too. We get all the dogs that get kicked out of every park training and PetSmart. Did I say it? Pet companies that trains. And it's great because I don't know where they would go if it wasn't for people like you and our training, because they need a place to go.
Yeah. Exactly. So I always tell my clients, human clients, I always tell them, I may not be able to do everything, but I'd rather gain the dog's respect and vice versa, and then go from there. So I may have to split up a service and maybe just do the bath, or even just give them a treat and give them loves and then have them come back, because you're not going to gain a dog's respect if you force something on them.
So do you play soft music, just like if you were to go and get like a massage? Do you do that kind of?
Actually, yes. No
screamo music?
No. We do play all sorts of music. We do aromatherapy treatments, things like that. And like I said, all the products we use are all plant derived, so they're not being covered and made into a rosebud. They're smelling like a dog, but in a nice way.
Wow. Can I come and get my hair cut there?
Sure. You may not come out looking very good because I don't do men, but I'll try.
And I hear you have a very nice view that people love to see from your shop.
Yeah, we're very, very blessed, very spoiled. I get to look at the Huntington Harbor and boats and pelicans and sea lions and all sorts of wonderful marine life. And then I get all sorts of lovely clients that come in too. So.
Well, we put your website on there so people can find it there, but it's where in Huntington Beach is it?
So we are right on PCH. In the area of Huntington Beach, everyone knows as Sunset Beach. And we're right in Peters Landing Marina, which is like a huge landmark right by the big tall water tower. So, yeah.
Yeah, I lived in Huntington Beach at 1400 Pacific Coast Highway.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at Peters Landing way too often at the place there. Yeah. Yeah, I think I walked home a couple times. Now, you carry some products you have a store, and you talked about it just a few minutes ago, but what kind of products do you only allow in your store?
Yeah, so basically when I was an independent contractor, I had to refuse clients because I was so booked. And so my husband and I, he's the co-owner, he and I basically wrote a business plan, thank you, and basically what our passions were. And so we try and only support USA made companies. That being said, foods that we eat, USA made and sourced. So all the products we sell are USA made and sourced, with a few exceptions if it meets or exceeds US standards. So lamb, that's all from New Zealand, etc. So things like that. And so we took that into our shop. Again, like I said, most of the products that we use, all the companies are eco-friendly as well, which that is why we did our entire build out eco-friendly. And one of our top selling foods is Open Farm, which is why I chose to be here.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And they're, obviously Jacqueline will go more into it, but they're the only certified humane company in the pet industry. And so my husband and I, that's all we pretty much eat. And so I support them so much and I love them. So, yeah.
Well, stay right here. Don't go anywhere. And so that brings me to Jacqueline. She's just not here just for her good looks. We're going to talk about Open Farm, and I've looked at the product, looked at the packaging, and the stuff you have listed on there is fantastic. And it's all about the Healthy Dog Network. As our tagline is from the mind, body, and bowl. So you fit right into that bowl part and probably the body. And so tell us about Open Farm. Where did it start? And I understand that you started it.
Yes. So I started out in the pet industry back in 2011. I was an accountant previously. I always loved dogs. And I had this idea to make a certain type of dog coat. So I eventually started a business in that, and suddenly I was in the pet industry. And, during that time, I just got more and more into, animal advocacy, animal welfare. I stopped eating meat. And my whole thing with meat is, look, the world eats meat, my husband eats meat, and I always say, look, know where that meat is coming from, how are the animals raised, not only because we care about the animals, but also for health reasons, because I believe that the way ingredients are sourced really has an impact on their quality. So we had this idea basically to bring a humanely sourced pet food option to the pet industry for the first time. And, we kind of looked around, you looked at people shopping at Whole Foods or going to their local butcher shop and wanting more transparency in where their ingredients are coming from. So that's really where the idea was born. And we really said, okay, if we're going to do this and have a humane pet food, humane is a very subjective term. It means different things to different people. How are we going to do that? You need to have a framework where you say, this is what humane means to us as a company. This is the standard that we work against, and you can make a decision if you want to support us or not. So as you mentioned, we are the first and only dog food to be a part of the Certified Humane program, which is really the leading one of two leading programs in animal welfare and food production. So you might go to the shop and see Certified Humane eggs or meat for people, right? But this was not available for pets previously. And the reason that we really like this program is because it's very, very strict. There's, say over 100 standards for each type of animal from birth until slaughter that are all designed to give those animals a natural life, allow them to be animals. Things like no use of preventative antibiotics and growth hormones, minimum space requirements, and really all these things to allow them to just kind of be themselves and live a natural, stress-free life. And then there's a full audit process for the farms. Even our manufacturing plant is audited, and that's really how we bring that transparency and that walk the walk to the consumer.
So how does that translate to good health for the dog? So we've done all that stuff. How do you formulate the formula to make sure the dog's getting the nutrition that it needs?
Yeah, so that's the whole thing too. You don't want to kind of have all these other elements but sacrifice on nutrition. So it was really always a goal for us to formulate a diet that would be best suited for dogs. So things like high meat content, low carbohydrates. All of our recipes are grain-free. We have options that have no potato in them. They're rotational. But also, again, it's a step further, and it's where do those ingredients come from? Even, chicken that is raised without the use of preventative antibiotics, right? That's a big element. Chickens that are not fed chicken byproduct, right? They're fed a healthy vegetarian diet. All of these little things go together into the quality of the ingredient. And there is scientific evidence that does show that, lower stress hormones in animals yields a better, higher quality of meat and things like that really, yields a higher quality ingredient.
And what about the packaging? Does that also fit into those standards?
Yes, definitely. When we were starting out, honestly, before I had a dog food company, I would toss my empty bags into the recycling bin. I thought they were recyclable, but we learned that they're not. Over 95% of dog food bags are not recyclable. And so we needed to kind of find another way to do it. So we partnered with an organization called TerraCycle. And what they do is they take non-recyclable waste, things like cigarette butts and all kinds of stuff, and they find ways to recycle it into new products. And so basically any one of our retailers can be a recycling center where they ask their customers to bring their empty bags back. They collect them, and once they have a certain amount, they can be picked up, sent to TerraCycle for recycling free of charge.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know that I was in the dog food business for a while too. I was selling another type of dog food that we were delivering to people's homes and that kind of stuff, and learned a lot of of stuff. When you get into something and you start to really kind of immerse yourself in it, you find out a lot of the stuff that you really didn't want to know. And so it sounds like you've done a good job of covering all that almost anybody could come and watch what you do and be happy with what is done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the goal. Is the other piece is being completely transparent. I always felt like dog food companies were this big black box, and what are you really getting? And you can go on our website, enter any lot code from any product. You'll get a full report with every ingredient, where it came from, its certifications, our safety testing. We are truly an open book, and we aim to answer any and all questions and really also take these certifications to give that additional level of comfort to consumers.
It's super important. As a canine handler, I trained at a facility they were right along a freeway. And anytime somebody stopped on the freeway, training would stop, because they thought it was either an attorney or somebody filming them, and they didn't want to see how the dogs were trained, because they were training them with cattle prods and sticks and that kind of stuff. That's how I was trained in the beginning. And then so I vowed when I started my training facility that I don't care who you are, you can come anytime and just watch. I have no worry that what you see is going to be something that I would want my grandmother to see, or somebody that can see exactly what we're doing. So I think that's super important, because I don't know that many dog food companies would do that.
I think it would be hard for them to open themselves up that way, because from the beginning they maybe haven't put the processes in place to source to this level where we're proud to disclose the source of every single one of our ingredients, and it's hard and it's expensive, and you have to really do it from the start and build your company in that framework.
So what's the, if you don't mind me asking, the protein content of, what do you have, the chicken? What's right behind us? So just some of the percentages that you have.
Yeah, sure. So the protein ranges approximately 30%, and 80% of that protein is coming from animal sources, so from the humanely raised meat, with the other 20% coming from vegetable ingredients. So no, we don't use any pea protein or synthetics. It's all natural protein, but again, the majority does come from meat. And it's a high meat content, low carbohydrate, and really kind of designed to give maximum energy and kind of maximum benefit to the dog from these clean ingredients, and in a way that they can actually digest it and draw that protein out effectively.
Fantastic, because I train a lot of working dogs, as I said earlier, and that protein content is really important to those dogs, because they burn so much energy all the time. One last thing, if I can remember what it was. I had one last thing that I want to talk about. Oh, shoot. Oh, the price point. Can I afford your dog food? Because it sounds like there's a lot of stuff there that's got to obviously make it too expensive for me.
Well, our goal was to make our food accessible. So the price point on our small bags is low 20s retail. Medium bags is about $45, and the large bag is in around mid 70s. And this is definitely, we're not the cheapest food on the market, but we're also at for many people an accessible price point, a price point that they're willing to pay. The value is there because of everything that you're getting and the quality. And look, it's really true that good nutrition leads to a healthier dog, leads to less vet costs. I mean, I've seen that, going from what I used to feed with hot spots and ear infections to, not having any of those issues anymore. So, yeah, it's all about accessibility, and we think that, the value proposition is there.
And I have to say, we have literally 100% success rate so far with all of my clients for finicky dogs, finicky cats. So, I mean, I think it's worth it for sure.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth, because that's the one thing I was going to say, is that if you spend a little bit more on their nutrition, the less visits you have to make to the vet. My police dog had hot spots all the time when I first got them, and I was changing the formulations of the food, that kind of stuff, but I never changed the quality of the food. Once I changed the quality of food, he never had a hot spot again, and the police department was paying for it, but I never had to take him back. They were so thankful, because every time I went there was $100, $200, whatever the medication was, and I was taking them almost every week, because they're getting steroid shots. I mean, and plus the stuff that you now have to do to the dog for the treatment.
And a happier dog too. Happier, healthier dog. They feel better.
I get people all the time, my dog's itching, I can't understand why, or this thing. I say, well, what kind of food are you feeding? It's Fred's food from Costco, and it's only $2 or $10 for 40 pounds. And I go, well, that's probably one of the things. I go, how big is the poop? Right? The poop's yeah. And that's the other thing about feeding a good quality food. The poop's smaller. It's like picking up rabbit poop as opposed to picking up horse poop. We always get the poop somehow on our thing.
Always get onto it.
So is there anything that I missed with either one of you that you want to share with our dog audience?
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much for taking the time and helping us share our message.
No problem at all. And they have cat food. I gotta say, they got cat food. I really don't care for cats. That cat's staring at me though.
And now dog treats too.
No, we have a cat at home. Urgh. All right, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. Make sure and check the links out that are on the description. You just click on those and go right to their website. And don't forget about FalcoK9TV.com, where you get the report for training your dog with love and respect. And that's free. And just click on that and you'll go right there. All right. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.